Alright, welcome everybody to the town board work session of Wednesday, November 7th, 2018. And we will start off with our Sustainable Westchester. Welcome Dan Welsh.
Hi everybody.
And he's gonna report on the new contract for the Westchester Power
Thank you.
Community Choice Aggregation.
Alright. It has a
Sorry
very
to keep you
brief,
so late.
yes,
No problem, thanks for taking me into the night shift already.
we are beyond the night shift,
So,
we're like, starting on the morning shift.
Alright, you're on the clock, let's roll.
I'm on the Lewisboro Town Board and we went till 11 on Monday, so.
Alright, so
We don't want to, so come.
No, and this should be fairly quick. Can I ask you a question? Are we televised?
Yes.
That's a good thing, cause that's the point of this, is just spread the word
Right.
on the results of the contract solicitation. So just for the benefit of viewers and people who might not know, I'm Dan Welsh, I'm from Sustainable Westchester. Sustainable Westchester is a nonprofit, membership-based nonprofit organization. The 42 out of the 45 municipalities in Westchester are members, and we're working on the last three. And obviously from the name you can tell that our mission is to generate activity that helps the municipalities forward their sustainability goals. You guys are an engine of all kinds of great activity that goes above and beyond what we do, and it's fantastic. And that's part of it too, is that we can help serve as to spread the word, good practices. And I've got, you're working on an electric shuttle bus now out of your clean
have one.
energy communities. It's in operation now?
Yes.
That's fantastic. So just a lot of great
Well,
stuff and, well, maybe.
We have it.
We use it for
Okay.
our purposes.
It's gonna be wonderful when
It's
we
gonna
use
be
it,
more
and,
widely used.
Yeah,
we
I've
just
heard
haven't,
all these things.
we haven't put into use yet,
It
it's gonna be.
takes time to promote, and a couple of weeks ago, we were at the train station working with your sustainability committee and trying to spread the word about electric landscaping equipment to
Yes.
help offer alternatives and which ought to match with some of your policy making agendas, I hope. But today we're here about Westchester Power, and as you know, essentially it's a big bulk power purchasing program. But the key to it and what differentiates it from just going out on the market as an individual and buying power is that it's an opt-out program. So, see on slide 5, what happens is the village chooses a default supply. We have solicited for 2. There's standard grid power, and then there's a renewable energy supply. And once or the town, the village or the town chooses the default, and then the residents still have the option to either opt out or change their supply, so they retain all their options and have new ones as well. And they can change their defaults at any time. They choose without any fee, and that differentiates it from 99.9% of the private ESCOs as well. If there were any penalties or fees, you can go out and come back in later. We have that happen, people sometimes they exit because they just don't know what this is or whatever, and then later on the neighbors tell them what's going on and come back in. We've been operating since April, May-ish of 2016, and on slide 6 you'll see in the Con Ed territory up through September, because that was the last reports that we got from the supplier. We've saved over $14 million for the residents in the entire Con Ed territory. So that includes, we started with 20 municipalities, and we've added Croton since we started it earlier this year. And just recently, Ardsley and Sleepy Hollow have signed on. They'll come in with this new contract. We've also added one on the Nice-Sike side in Pound Ridge, so there's a total of 24 in the program. And of course, very importantly to us is the carbon mitigation, and we're up to about 340,000 metric tons. That's a hard number for anybody to what does that mean? It's a big number. The EPA website has a conversion calculator where you can, convert that to number of trees planted and all that. I like the cars off the road, and it's just about equal to one car for every green account. That's it's in there. So it's a big impact. And NYSERDA will tell you in that checklist of items that you guys satisfied to win your grant, that the CCA, the Community Choice Aggregation, is their number one in terms of impact. So we're pretty happy with the macro results from that. Also have a page here translating those on slide 8 into what would be interpolated into Newcastle only savings and carbon mitigation. So you folks have accounted for 43,000 tons of the carbon mitigation and are seeing over $1 million, $1.2 million in savings for the residents in total. So that's the background and the history. Then again, the core of this meeting is to report on the results of the solicitation for the new contract, which is to begin in January. And to sort of set the context for that, you'll recall we had, in order to go forward with the RFP, we signed everybody onto an MOU which set out target pricing. If we couldn't get anything within that pricing, we don't go forward. So slide 9 shows the targets we set out based on the trailing averages of the utility. For residential, that was 8.26 cents, and for commercial was 9.06 cents. We included the equivalent targets and what we ended up with rates for the original bid. So it kind of shows you, in that case, we, for example, set out 8.09 for the residential, and we came in at 7.38, and we beat both of them at that point too. And we've done so in this round as well, and we'll see that in a second. On slide 10, kind of was a little quick play-by-play of how the RFP was organized. We started with RFI, a request for information, to try and qualify the bidders. We started. There was a list of 70 some odd suppliers on the Department of Public Service website. We called them all, emailed them all. A lot of them are smaller, one office and a suitcase type operations, but the ones that had interest in a aggregation as large as ours, we isolated those, and they got the more formal RFP after that. Gave them 2 weeks to come back with their offers. So Friday the 5th of October, that morning, they were due. They came in. We structured it so we let everybody know that we were going to make the award on the same day. That way, when they're going out for their morning market looks and hedging, they know that they're going to be able to close that in the afternoon, and they don't have to price in the risk of it perhaps going somewhere the next day. So we got those offers, and we had a team assembled at our place that included our folks and a few from outside. We had Chris Burdick from Bedford, Dana Levenberg from Ossining, and also Carl Rabago from the Pace Climate Center. And you may know, among his previous career iterations, he was also on the Texas Board of Utility Governors, so he knows his stuff. He was a great person to have there. Going through this, one of the bidders asked to rebid. They said that they were not happy with the results of their modeling, so we went out with an email to everybody. Okay, we said, somebody wants to rebid. If you want to do that, come back to us by 1:30. They all came back in. Constellation edged out NRG, another mega energy firm, by a smidget. And in some sense we were like, well, we kind of like to see somebody else win because we want the market to whatever. But it makes things smoother though and easier having the same supplier. One thing which happens is we don't, as we do the the notification letters and the process that happens there. Since you're not changing suppliers, you don't get the switch card that happens when you change suppliers, which can be confusing when you're in a CCA because people haven't really switched. And that's something we've been working on with the DPS. Can we make that process better? It's stuck in the ancient utility billing systems and everything, but anyway, so that is a little bonus from that.
It's a good, nice bonus, actually.
Yeah, it'll reduce confusion. I think
Yeah,
they'll basically get a notification letter which says, your rates are coming down, and then they'll still get, and we'll get to that, they'll get all the information about whether they wanna opt out or anything like that.
When your provider's being changed, nobody knows why, and they think it's a scam, it's a big problem.
It takes a lot of work, and no matter how you write those letters, they still come off as, they could be an ESCO letter or something, that we do the best we can. So the slide 11 again shows the results, which were pretty favorable. The residential, we came in at 7.96 cents, just a smidgen below our 8-cent current rate, but that, if we put it in perspective, our current rate was set based on the trailing averages back in 2016, which means it was based on 2015 utility prices, which means essentially that we'll be giving our residents a price going forward in 2019 for 2 years, which is still lower than 2015 prices. So we're pretty happy about that. But even more exciting is the huge cut made in the commercial rates. Constellation decided they were gonna give the small businesses the same rate. And remember, there's two classes in the program. There's residential, SC1, and then there's small commercial. So these are mom and pop shops that don't reach the level where they have demand meters and all that kind of stuff. They're basically the same scale as a residential. But those rates were close to 10 cents in our last contract, in the current contract, and they're coming down now to 7.96 cents. So that's almost a 20% cut in the power cost.
And so this contract is 2 years, she said?
2 year
Duration?
contract.
And
Yeah.
we're locked into these rates for the duration
Right.
of the 2 years.
Right, yeah. The program is a fixed price model. It's really the only way we see to give some assurance to people, against rises. But as we always have to say, we can't guarantee savings because of that, right? It's like when you lock in, if you lock in your oil or something for your house over the winter, you have an insurance policy, and in our case, we have, 85,000 Con Ed customers that we go out with a bid for, and we're pretty sure we're gonna get a darn competitive bid, but, we don't know where the market is going. So what we do, and so slide 12 is sort of there to help us triangulate with a little more context again on those trailing averages. So we don't have a crystal ball looking into the future, we don't know for sure where the market's gonna go, but we can look at where it's been, and that helps us to at least have some feeling for where we are. And you'll see, if we go back 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, we're beating all of those averages. So just again, another way of sort of giving context for those rates. Two supplies again, the standard and the renewable. The renewable this time is based on hydropower. And a lot of that is coming out of the ruling from the Department of Public Service, which said if you want to supply, as a CCA, if you want to supply renewable energy and make those claims, you have to be going through the New York State registration system that the DPS manages. It's called NIGATS, and it's basically the equivalent of the Green E certification system that we were in, which was a national-based system. So we had national wind renewable energy certificates. That was the medium for us for purchasing green power in the last contract. In this case, we're going to have New York State renewable energy certificates based on New York hydropower. So the good news is that came in with a good competitive price, and those are dollars that stay in New York, and we can say the environmental impact is closer to home as well. So we're pretty happy with that as well. So we've signed the contracts, that was the fun part of what we had to do right after the RFP. Before January, we still have the notification letter, as we talked about, that's still 30 days. It doesn't have all the same meaning it did in the first place because people are already in the program. Although we will also be going out, as we do regularly on a quarterly basis, all the new eligible people who moved in or they fell out of an ESCO or something like that, become eligible, they get the notification letters as well. So there are some new customers as well. Said the new rates will take effect on the first meter read that a customer gets after January 1st. That notification letter, again, will include all the mandated stuff. It'll tell the customers that they have the options of the two different types of supply. It'll of course give all the information of how to contact us if they wanna make a change, if they wanna opt out. And they always have the option of just picking up the phone and calling us. We're right in Mount Kisco, we have staff there who answer all kinds of calls, some of them related, some of them unrelated, and we help people as much as we can with whatever comes in. Or they can go through a web form, which is a simple, 4 or 5 items, the account number, I wanna change this. So that's pretty easy as well. And that basically is the information that we wanted to present here to, again, through this medium, to let residents know that this has happened. We have a new contract coming. They will retain all the options they ever had, and they'll get the information in writing with this notification letter, which should go out in mid-November. So they'll see it later in November.
And does the notification letter go out to households that are enrolled in CCA as well as those that are not currently enrolled?
Yes, so
Okay.
there's two different wordings that we've have, one is, the town has opted to.
Gee, we saved you a lot of money.
Yeah, well, we do throw that in, there,
Yes.
and
Or gee, you could save a lot of money.
yeah, that's about the difference in the
So who
in the
picks
tone.
up the tab for all of the mailings and everything else that goes out? How is this financed?
That's built into the contract, so the supplier will be paying for that. And just as everybody knows, and we've said this before, the Sustainable Westchester gets a 0.1 cent per kilowatt hour administrative fee. That's dictated by the PSC
And
regulations.
that covers the cost of you doing all of the mailings to all of our residents and.
That's outside of the mailings. The
That's outside.
Constellation
Okay,
does the
okay.
mailings.
Got it, okay.
We design them. We've got the town seal, our information
Got it,
there.
okay.
We have to have a
Would you-
town contact, we have that on the bottom.
Would you provide us with a copy of each of the letters? Because I do remember when they went out the first time, we got a number of calls from residents just asking like, was this
What is
for
it?
real, what isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So it would be great if we could include just model letters in our e-newsletter, they're coming out or on the website, just to
That's
alert
perfect.
people, and would you
And-
have an
and
approximate
maybe
date?
this as
This,
well,
yes,
right?
absolutely, this program.
Do you have an electronic version of that?
Yeah, sure.
That'd be
I'll
great,
send that.
and do you have a guesstimate as to when these would be mailed out? Because it would be great to be able to give people
Yep.
just an alert, this letter's gonna be coming, this is the program that we've renewed for another 2 years and
I'm told the target is around the 13th
of,
of this month.
oh, November, my gosh, okay, great,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
that would be great.
Because
Okay,
in
'cause we'll get
30
it out.
days and it has to be done, and after the 30 days is up, then there's another dialogue with the utility, and then, all the data's changed, and just in time for that.
It's very helpful if we can alert
Yeah.
our residents and let them know that it's legitimate, this is coming out and sort of forestalls a lot of the questions and the
Yeah,
angst.
absolutely, so we'll get
Okay,
you,
great.
we'll get you the letter,
Fabulous.
and we'll
Thank
get you a
you, thank
copy,
you.
copy
Wonderful.
of this.
How many, do we know how many people opted out last time? Like, do you keep records by municipality?
Yes, but I don't know the by municipality,
Okay.
We'd be so interested to.
I would
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely be interested, that's,
Yeah, right?
I'll get you that.
Okay, that'd be great.
can we guess names?
Yeah, I can, Gary? No,
I know.
no, I'm not.
Hey,
That,
Newcastle's fine, of course, every program and every government has the people that contact them the most and
Yep.
have the, and there's a few of those, but they're not in Newcastle, for at least the ones that contact us.
Really?
They're in some other towns.
If I remember correctly, Newcastle was the first one to go green in,
That's true, all
with
green.
our choice,
It's very fitting.
just
Leader again.
It's very fitting, and we're happy to report that where we had 4 municipalities in the standard supply last time, everybody went green this time except for one municipality.
Really?
Yeah, so that's
Excellent.
Let's call them out, that's good.
Alright, thank you very much.
Thank you so
Great.
much.
great.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Sorry,
Thank
I
you.
know
Yeah.
You're interested, you're in Lewisboro?
Yeah.
Is that a supervisor or a mayor?
It's
Supervisor.
all the towns are supervisors.
That was a choice of telling you.
So, Peter Parkins, yeah.
Thank you.
But that's great, I know it's busy and it's budget time and all that stuff.
Right,
It's
right.
very
Thank you.
helpful. Okay.
Thank you for
so much. Take care.
Right.
Okay.
Take care, good night. Okay, next, let's see.
I think we've got, sorry, okay, so there was an initial question about our policies and procedures. So, we have a new sexual harassment prevention policy because the law changed. And so council has revised it. I asked council to go through our policies and make sure that all of them were up to date and in compliance with state law. They have done that. Some of the policies are relatively new. We passed them over the course of the past 4 years. Quite a few of them are well over 5 years old and the law has changed. So these revisions reflect changes that the council has made to bring our policies and procedures into compliance with 2019.
I mean, to a certain extent, we have to just rely on what council's saying, I mean, I'm not
Well, I think we
experiencing
could-
this, but when we see the wholesale removal, I'm assuming that's because this is just simply not.
Right, and I'm happy,
legal.
to have council come in and discuss any questions about it,
I
but
just
it
said
is.
it's hard for me to
but-
judge, first of all, it's hard to read all, but
I
I don't
understand,
know
yeah.
what the standard is.
Yeah, I mean, one of them is, actually, that's interesting.
Like, is this, for example, the same thing that's happening in, you represent Beacon and other municipalities, are you doing the same thing with them?
Yeah, but we're all reviewing their sexual harassment policy
But I'm
to
saying
make
that the
sure.
language is
Yeah.
gonna be,
Oh, yeah, the
it's gonna
language,
be
yeah,
across the
'cause-
board, pretty standard
Yes,
language.
That's correct,
It's
because it's
model.
following the model New York State policy,
Right,
with some modifications that we recommended, but for the by and large, it's following the model.
right.
So it would be consistent with other other ones, yes.
I wouldn't mind taking a look at it because I can see that we're taking out sort of, and I understand maybe outdated, but to a certain extent, we took out a telecommunications policy, which is how staff is meant to use software programs, computers.
Yeah, that's actually
if there's an IT policy.
because there's now an IT
Right.
policy and that's why it's been replaced. So when we adopted our IT policy, we never,
No, that's
you know,
fine, and
removed
I'd
our
like to look at, it. We're
telecommunications,
taking
so
out again
revised
the
it.
evaluations, which is something maybe we need to have a discussion
I
about.
guess like when this comes out and it's in our electronic packet and it's 150 pages, it just would be good if we understood what we're being asked to do.
Okay.
Are we just accepting the inclusion of the new ones that have been passed over the course of the past year and truing up the ones that currently exist so that there isn't something that's in conflict?
Yes.
Or are we meant to be saying, these are the 18 that this town needs to have, and we're gonna go through and we're gonna read them all and make sure that we agree with them wholesale, cause we're accepting this 150 pages.
well, some of them should look familiar to you, the business
Yeah,
related
that's
things we already
right,
did.
that's not my point, my point is just, are we just adding the new material, or are we meant to be reviewing all 18 and all 150 pages?
Both, I need the board
Okay,
to
then-
be
then-
aware of the policies and procedures. This was not meant as a, snap decision, this was put on last time, it's something I would like the board to approve by the end of the year. Some of these are existing policies because board members are here for different periods of time, they may not be familiar with certain things. You know, when we talked about just even business related, when it came up, that was something that you raised because, you know, you bring a different perspective to the board. There's experiences that you have that you had suggestions for us, so this got updated. You know, we had a substance abuse policy, it's really supposed to be alcohol and substance abuse policies, the board went through it.
My point is just, this would be my first time ever trying to look at them wholesale and think about whether this is the right 18 and whether there ought to be policies and procedures around things that are not included here. So for example, and this may be something that's included elsewhere, but for example, a conversation around how people are using and carrying over their leave balances, right?
So that would only
Is that something that
be-
gets included here or not? But those are the kinds of questions, like, is that a question I'm meant to be asking as I'm reviewing this? Or are we just revising to add the things in that we've done in the past year? So if it's the latter, yeah, I guess I feel like I need a little while longer to think about it.
Absolutely, and so as far as carrying over vacation or things like that, you're talking about a very limited segment of our town employees, because most of our employees are covered either under the PBA contract, which addresses that,
No, I
or the
understand that.
CSEA contract.
Yeah, but
So-
managerial
Right, and we
time,
actually
is that a
don't
policy
have-
that we need to have? I don't
We
know.
actually don't have a non-union managerial policy. For the most part, we have followed the CSEA contract with a few exceptions. And actually, there was one, the compensatory time policy is something that
Right, yeah,
applies
yeah,
to
I know about
non-union
that.
employees that we instituted and have changed along the way, because there were some non-union employees who get compensatory time. And so we wanted that to be in a policy, and we've amended it over the course of the years.
And
But the board should just be,
non-managerial
the board should be aware of the policies and procedures that are here. And I appreciate the fact that it's 500, 150 pages, and I know it's a lot of material, but you're the fiduciaries, and it's important that I bring these to
I
your
agree with you, and that's why,
attention.
that's why if we're authorizing to approve that tonight.
No, that is it's a discussion.
Well, so,
It's
but
not
that's
an
what
action,
this
but it's not, but that's a
So
discussion.
that's my point, like, let's, I just, when something gets included and it's a
Nick.
major piece of work, like, it would just be nice to know, we're including this, it's for discussion,
Okay.
our intent is
No
to
problem.
approve this by the end of the year.
Okay, no problem. I'm
Nick,
happy to do that.
Nick, is this, when we use the term boilerplate within reason, following the code from the state model code with some amendments, do other municipalities have, do other municipalities that you're familiar with and you work with,
Yeah.
is it standard for these 18, or is there other ones that they have that we don't have? Do we have things that they don't have?
Right.
Is there, what can we compare it to say, oh, you know what, and I'm using Beacon, because that's, I know you represent
Yeah,
Beacon.
we represent Bedford as well,
Whatever, maybe it
Pleasantville.
doesn't make a difference so much.
Right.
Bedford, so does
just
Bedford
real.
have these 18, or does Bedford have 19, does Bedford have 17, what?
So I asked Labor Council to go through these, to let us know what it is that we are missing, what it is that we have that perhaps we don't need to have. It's, a redundancy that just complicates things, like the telecommunications policy that is really, a precursor to the IT policy that we've now done, so you don't need to have two different ones and you don't want them to be in conflict. The board is probably familiar with the fact that we didn't have a vehicle use policy until a situation arose that made the board be like, gee, we ought to have a policy about how our vehicles get used and what's appropriate and what's not, and leaving town with the
So
town
I think the
vehicle.
response to that is, can you let us know,
Yeah.
and for me, it's maybe more of a question for you from the legal perspective, let us know what other policies other municipalities have, whether or not we ultimately want to adopt them or not, or modify them, just to be curious to see if we can compare, because I would have to rely on your judgment in terms of the wording. You're the legal counsel, I don't know if the wording is
Right.
right,
So-
but it's
so-
more of the bigger principles.
Right, or all the, I understand the question.
Got it, so
Yes.
that'd be great, that'd be helpful.
Yes.
Alright, next.
Look at you.
No, that's not bad, that's okay.
Oh, fine. Sometimes it shares, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, we're gonna be setting the 2019 preliminary budget for public hearing. We were going to have a continued discussion for the zoning RFP. Ivy has given me comments. I understand that the planning board is going to have comments that are gonna be coming as well. We are hoping to perhaps add it to our November 16th conversation with the planning board so that we can get the comments out. We'd like to
Okay.
November 16th,
Yep.
sorry,
Friday,
that morning meeting, because we'd like to be able to issue the RFP before the end of the year.
I had comments too, by the way.
Oh, great, so
No, the only comment I
No,
said
but your
was,
comment was a good comment.
right, we should give them, we want a time limit to get it done.
The first 3 tasks included timeframes, but the
Right.
last 3 didn't.
Yeah, no, they should, yes, we should be absolutely providing timeframes. We want this turned around, within a certain period of time. We thought, remember 6 months is what we thought was a reasonable amount of time to turn
Yes.
around before we are able to hold a public hearing, because there's gonna have to be outreach and public hearings and
Right.
discussions on this, so.
Yeah, we need timeframes in there, definitely.
Okay, so.
Whatever we decide, we can't be open, it can't be open-ended.
No, absolutely not, okay, that's great, okay. SPCA 2019 contract, holiday lights, it would cover both the triangle and the lights up by Talbot's.
And just for the public, we asked earlier, it's $10,500, and there's not a means by which we can purchase lights and do it internally over the course of time that would save money, it's not something that's
The
possible.
lights only last for a couple of years because the wires get subject to so much stress outside.
And you had mentioned, just so the public can know too, you'd said it was roughly $6,000 for just the one tree through,
Just for the triangle,
For the
so
triangle.
it was the 2 trees and the shrubbery that's in front, and Westchester Tree Life was able to do that
Sorry,
for us
I
last
wasn't a
year.
part of this conversation.
we're just talking off,
So,
go.
have we in the past paid for this via contract? Or
Oh,
we
yes,
didn't have?
yeah,
Is
so
it our
we-
first year taking it?
No, we did it last year, it was up for 2 years,
Got
but
it.
they were our lights, so it was significantly cheaper, but they just get destroyed after being out for a couple of years. They also, because the
expanded
connections were a little
where we're
iffy, they were on, they were off, they were on, they were off, they were making me.
Yeah, no, it's not just a triangle going
But
down
Jill,
the trees
didn't we
too.
do the train
Tablets.
station last year?
So it's
No, we do the train
adding more
station
also.
building, but not the trees around it.
No, we do the
How
trees,
it's
the
always
bottom of the
been done
trees a
though.
little bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's in-house, that's
How
different.
it's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
That's
done.
not-
So what's new? What's new?
No, we're probably doing the whole tree.
No, we're doing the entire trees of the triangle.
Go all up the branches,
All up the
so that
branches.
it
This
looks
is the
like a
group that does
twinkling magic
Tarrytown?
night.
We don't,
Yeah.
we've never done Talbots to that extent.
No, Talbots we had done in-house, but all that has to be tossed. We haven't done it in like the past 4 years.
Usually gets
Why are we
wrapped.
doing towns?
Really?
Why?
Well, it's a
Because
great
it's great.
location, cause you're coming, that's it,
Yeah,
big,
no,
big
I
intersection.
understand, I'm just saying.
Yeah, because we had done it in the past, as a real,
I have no problem with it,
Yeah,
but
like,
I'm just
uh,
asking why.
like with a series of extension cords, and it had looked very nice, and when we didn't do it anymore, people commented about it. But we just couldn't, we didn't have the ability to take it.
Part of the
What trees would you
streetscape,
do in Millwood? Why don't you
No, I
think
think I
about it?
might do something sort of around,
part of the problem with Millwood is the electricity source, we've looked into it before.
Yeah, there's no electricity at the entrance to Gedney.
oh, I was
We looked
thinking
into
more
it
around the
last year.
pond. Sort of in the distance, like a twinkly thing.
Like I
I
see.
don't think we have electricity out there, I will look into it.
There's electricity in the bathroom there.
You can let them
Oh, no,
put
they
that
have
in. That's
electricity
something
because
we
they've
feel
got
is-
the,
would be beneficial to our community.
In the front part, yes, but not by the far,
No, not in the far back, I'm talking about just sort of around some of the trees around the pond to kind of, people walk their dogs.
yeah, but not at
Dusk.
night.
No, I know,
The
but
park
it'd be,
closes at dusk.
yeah, no, I know, but it would be something, or another place that would be,
I'm gonna be rude, let's discuss, we just try
Yeah.
to figure out places
Yeah,
brainstorming.
later.
With the
Not it now.
streetscape though, we're gonna have uplighting for the 2 trees in the triangle, which would be really nice.
Yeah.
We'll bring
Alright,
it up.
so-
But yeah,
United for Youth?
so it's fine, but I have no problem.
Yeah, no.
United for Youth?
You know what uplighting is?
That's a pass-through
Yes, I have it.
charge
What do
for
you- I don't know.
a program that they've actually done already.
Yep.
What kind of question was that?
There is a request from the Chamber of Commerce for 2018 program funding. We did this last year.
2018 or 2019.
2018.
Was this
It's a,
last
it's,
year?
it was, the
No,
letter's
it's-
written
it's-
future,
I think it's 2018, this is something that they requested like probably 6 months ago, I could check the email, it was a while
Yeah, I thought we had
ago.
done it, but we didn't. We
And then what
talked
they
about
said
it.
is, they just listed like, rather than come to us for specific events, they said, why don't we just ask you once? And they listed like 4 events, and then I think we said to them, Nick and Ed said to them, you gotta list just 2 events and give us details. So they came back with a detailed proposal, and then we never added to the agenda.
We're talking $2,000 for something like Wine Around Town and
Right,
and
right,
summer
right.
concert programs and cookies, I mean, this is, 100%.
It was done,
Well, I think they had an open-ended thing, we want
Right,
some
and-
money.
Yeah, we wasn't
and
thinking,
then we
we just
never
never made it back to the
Right.
agenda.
we never put it back on the agenda, then they're saying when we getting our money, and we were like, oh
Well,
shoot, I don't think we ever
We'll do
approved it.
Right, so that's where we are. Okay, there's a mini bid for 2 vehicles from DPW. We're gonna be piggybacking on, a couple of administrative items, did I miss anything? Alright, our transportation consultant we will be approving later this evening. So there's just a couple of administrative items.
And the mini bid, just to understand, the mini bids, they're already
So
in the budget?
yes, they've all been budgeted, we are piggybacking onto another county who has already gone out to successfully
But either
bid
way,
on
we
a truck.
expected this as part of the budget.
Yes, so that we don't have to actually go out and issue it, yes.
Sorry.
Was that you?
No, with Lisa.
It was not. It was all wrong.
Alright,
Anything
so
else,
we're
Jill?
on to- yeah, it's time, okay, this is a standby letter of credit from Campfire Club, this is a request from Jen Gray from the board. Banner application, payment of claims. And then we've got a couple of proposed actions down here based upon our executive session. Okay, and if the board's ready, we've got a whole bunch of resolutions to do this
I
evening.
move to adopt the following resolution, be it resolved that the intermunicipal agreement of the Municipal Employee Benefits Consortium entered into on April 24th, 1989 and amended on June 24th, 2013 be further amended as set forth in Exhibit A of this document to be attached to the minutes. Be it resolved that the revised IMA is approved in all respects to supersede the MEBCO IMA and be effective upon such date when all of the current MEBCO municipal corporation members execute the revised IMA. And be it resolved that the town administrator is hereby authorized to direct, to execute and deliver the revised IMA in the form presented at this meeting in the name of and on behalf of the town of Newcastle as of
Be tonight?
tonight,
Okay.
November
November
7th, 2018.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
I move to authorize the town to enter into a lease agreement with Neopost for a lease of model number IN 600 AF postage meter. The terms of the lease are $159.99 per month for the period of 63 months.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Go ahead.
I move to promote police officer Daniel Maldonado to rank of police sergeant effective November 8th, 2018 at the salary of $121,944.73 made from the eligible list 78-826 established 9/12/18. This promotion fills the vacancy created by the promotion of Sergeant Christopher Ragney.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I move to authorize designating Sam Schwartz for the town of Newcastle preferred vendor for traffic consulting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to have Lisa do this next long one. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
I move to have Nick explain it and I will.
Sure, so this is a resolution to authorize a tax certiorari settlement for property located at 26 South Greeley. There was a challenge for tax years 2011 through 2018. After discussion with town council and the town assessor and retained appraiser, it was determined the settlement was in both parties' interest and resulting in a tax refund of $20,995.63 to the various, from the various town and special districts. The resolution sets forth the reduced assessment, and the board, and the resolution authorizes the town council to authorize the settlement document.
That's a heck of a rebate, we just joined.
Resolve, the town board authorizes the settlement of these proceedings so as to what?
Can you just say as to what, as described by council?
I am.
Oh, sorry.
To adjust the assessment of the tax parcel involved in the litigation as set forth in the resolution, and resolve the town of Newcastle, Keenan Bean, and the town administrators authorized to undertake all actions necessary to effectuate the settlement, including execution and entry of a consent judgment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. You want me to do it? I move to hire Robert Bancroft as a part-time fire inspector within the building department at the rate of $40 an hour for the start date effective November 13th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to hire Ed Barnes as a part-time permanent recreation attendant at the rate of $25 an hour and $15 an hour for special events Ed Barnes was previously on payroll as a part-time availability employee at the rate of $15 an hour only for special events. His effective date for this position would be retroactive to October 29th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to authorize Christine Gray, Brittany Nieder, Doug Scott, and Ike Cuzio to attend the 24th Annual New York State Rec and Park Society Downstate Conference on Tuesday, November 13th, 2018, held at the County Center in White Plains, New York. The cost of the conference is $70 per person, totaling $280 for 4 attendees.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to authorize the release of a street opening bond number 2017-0015 to Rock All Construction Corporation of Yorktown Heights, New York, in the amount of $750. The work for this permit was completed within the town's satisfaction.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to adopt the following resolution, which authorizes the acceptance of a letter of credit and release of cash bond for 230 Campfire Road, for the work which is described in the resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board and the town of Newcastle hereby authorizes the acceptance of the aforementioned letters of credit. Be it further resolved that the town board and the town of Newcastle hereby authorizes the release of the aforementioned cash bonds in the amount of $324,500 and $67,500, but hereby retains the cash bond amount of $11,500 for replacement trees as described.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you wanna read the next one?
Oh, sure. I move to approve a request from the Chappaqua Rotary for a banner for Community Day 2019 to be held September 14th. The banner will be displayed from September 2nd to September 13th, 2019.
I second it, impressive that that far ahead of themselves.
They have to be, they go,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I move to set a public hearing regarding the 2019 preliminary budget on Tuesday, November 27th at 7:30 p.m. in the Assembly Room of Newcastle Town Hall, located at 200 South Greeley Ave, Chappaqua, New York.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to approve payment of claims in the amount of $865,324.53 listed on the summary pre-check writing report and detailed voucher detail report, each prepared on November 7th, 2018. Checks will be issued in mail to each claimant listed on Thursday, November 8th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I move to award the contract for the purchase of one 2019 Ford Escape pursuant to a mini bid to Van Bortel Ford Inc. in the amount of $23,665.16.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to award the contract for the purchase of one 2019 Ford F-150 pursuant to the mini bid reflected here to Metro Ford Sales Inc. in the total amount of $31,240.45.
Second.
All in favor?
I move to approve a contract with 10 Seconds Inc., PMS 8598, Madeira Beach, Florida, for a program speaker on October 22nd, 2018, for the total, 2018?
Yeah, that was
That's
happened
retroactive.
earlier.
Yes. Total amount of $3,275.00.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Yeah, that's a pass through, just,
Yeah, okay, and the last one is the revised resolution regarding the sale of the property.
I don't see that.
I'm not doing that.
I'm already, I'm up, I finished my page, you're up, Lisa.
Man, why am I?
thank you.
Own it, own it.
Okay,
Yeah.
whereas Preferred Auto Group, which is the owner of the Shell service station on South Greeley Avenue, wants to purchase 0.22 acres of town-owned land. Now therefore be resolved, the town board submits its intention to sell the area of the town-owned property that best meets the need to improve and protect the watercourse and its associated use and environmental benefits as determined through the review and approval of the required special permit, which includes any of our boards such as the planning board, zoning board of appeals, and environmental review board, as well as professional town stay.
And this is contingent upon Preferred Auto coming to the town with a plan that meets the
Yeah,
environmental
that would be in the special permit and all of those boards have to review it.
Exactly.
Right, they're not going to, right, it's not gonna happen unless they approve it, all
Second.
those things. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.